Ian, how's it feel to be a member of the World Champs?
It's awesome. Just this is an unreal feeling, especially as a baseball fan, to be part of an organization like this. I watched the team in the World Series the last 2 years, and if you're a fan of baseball, you're a fan of the Royals just because of how they play. And I've heard so many good things about the city ever since I've been here, and then everything from Dayton, the front office, and the Glass family all together. But it's just be a fun point of my life, just in my baseball career at least. I know my family and I are really excited, and you could just tell on my face that it's excited to make it official and to be a part of the Royal family.
When you say you watched this team over the last couple of years, what are some of the things that, as a player, that you want to say, hey, listen, I'd like to be on that team?
Just they're relentless, man. They're in the playoffs. You don't win playoff games in late games like they did, in the fashion they did, unless you have that grit and that gut that I've always wanted to play with, like guys like that. And on the good teams I've played with, they've had that. And it's been a while, so I was, you see it on TV a lot, but to see these guys, I mean, they play unbelievable defense alongside of that, but they're talented and they have that inside of them. That makes me, really excited to be just hop right in, don't change anything. I'm just going to be myself and help this team win.
Upstairs, what kind of response did you get, and what did you think of the fans and everybody that are up there right now? You see anything like that in your career?
Yeah, it's well, I've been in places where it hasn't been indoors. I've been in San Diego or Arizona, everything's outside, but that was the first unique part. But being inside, you saw people lining up to get Salvy's autograph, and I mean, there's a lot of fans out there, and you can tell that Kansas City has I can't describe it, but it's a great feeling as a city, and they love their Royals, and they love their Chiefs too. So I watch them make their way through the playoffs too.
Was there ever any impatience this offseason as the market, for a lot of guys, really dragged for a while?
Yeah, I think there's so many guys not signed. Like the pitcher market started pretty quick, and you'd watch the market, and there was a lot of us that still haven't signed, so it really didn't worry all that much. The elite top guys signed pretty early, and then there was like a lull. Justin J-Up is a really good friend of mine, and I'd see him playing golf or whatever, and we'd be talking. He's in my Bible study. I say, "Hey, man, how's it going?" He goes, hanging out. And then found out a couple days later after we agreed on some stuff that he agreed to go to Detroit. So it wasn't that surprising to us. When we agreed to with Dayton. I was in Hawaii, so I really wasn't feeling that bad. I was pretty relaxed while I was there, so I wasn't stressed out too much. But I mean, there's still really good pitchers left on the market, and really good position players too. So
it's a good contract, but how much did Dave Eiland's presence here play a role into your decision?
With the familiarity with Dave, and they had a good amount. Just because he knew me. It's been a while. I've grown as a pitcher. I've grown as a man, and as a person. So he saw me. I was 22 and 23 years old, and by then I was traded by then. So he's probably going to notice that I've changed a little bit. I got a lot more innings under my belt and a lot more starts, and it's just one of those things where you grow as a pitcher. And I saw he was there at the very beginning, and I imagine he's going to see that I've grown a lot too. So. But I saw him. I gave him a big hug, and it's a good face to see.
The ballpark and defense behind you play a factor in your decision as well, or
I mean, that's what makes this team so fun to watch. Because the ballpark. I made my second big league start in Kansas City, and Kansas City has been like one of my favorite stadiums. That was before they made all the renovations and everything. So when I came, a couple years ago, it's still one of my favorite, like plain surfaces, and then you got the good. I can't imagine now what it's like with now that they won the World Series last 2 years, and that played a big factor. I wanted to go to a team that would win. I mean, you ask anybody, we'd always say the same thing. We want to go to a winner, or at least have a chance to win. And to the defense, I don't think I've ever played in front of a defense that's this good, and I haven't even thrown a ball yet, but I'm excited for it.
It sounds like there's been some interest with the Royals and you for the last couple of years. Maybe even tried to make a trade for you a couple of years ago. Did that play into this team has obviously wanted you to be a part of it for the last couple of years?
Yeah, Dayton told me that, and I just heard it again when I was upstairs. But you hear stuff like, especially the last couple of years, have been especially around the trade deadline, where my name's been thrown around, and the Royals here, Royals there. But there's also a lot of teams that you kind of have ties. Probably Dave, and then Dayton, and I met him maybe one other time. We stayed at the same hotel. They were playing the White Sox. We were playing the Cubs. But it's just, baseball's a small world, and you kind of hear those rumors and you hear those things, but you know that at least they have interest in you. At least there's somebody that likes you. And like I said, baseball's a small world, so you're going to hopefully end up playing for them one day.
You said you had a lot of innings, and the innings were there last year, but how would you describe your 2015?
Started out rough. It was the first time I've gone on a DL since my aneurysm surgery in 2009, and that was in the minor leagues then. But I tweaked it my very first start of the year, and it wasn't real bad, but I just pulled myself out of the game and went on the DL for 15 days. And I think the timing of it all and how it, like right after spring training, I wasn't really extended. Maybe if it happened in like July or August, I could have hopped right back in. Maybe, and so right when I came back, it was a little tougher. I don't know if, I wasn't quite right, and you can tell my numbers. And then, but as soon as June hit, I had about 5 starts. But as soon as June hit, it was like I was back to normal again. And I can't really describe it all that well, but it was. You ask anybody there that's covered the team, it was like I was a different pitcher. And I'd have a good start in May, like 3 really bad starts, and then it's on and off throughout May. But then as soon as June came, I felt like myself, was consistent, and you know that what you're going to get with me. And that's what May was kind of. It was a weird month because I came off the DL and a weird time. Maybe having a little hesitant with my hamstring coming back so quick, but everything happened. It was right, but it was just mechanically wasn't right. Balls were floating back over the middle of the plate. You don't have a lot of homers. At the end of the year, I started pitching pretty well, and like all the things of saying that I gave a lot of home runs, but you look at some of the numbers, especially later in the year. If I throw 7 innings, I give 1 run. It was a solo homer. It's like, well, if I give 1 run, at least I'm still in the windup. And solo homer, but it's kind of part of pitching. And Shields was going through the same thing I was. He'd give up a solo home run and he'd give up 3, and we were going back and forth with the lead a little bit. But it was a very up and down the start, but then I felt pretty consistent throughout the rest of the year.
Did James tell you anything about Kansas City? Did you talk to him?
He called me a couple days after he heard the news. I texted him right after, and he was excited as I was. He's like, man, I'm so excited for you. He's like, you're gonna have so much fun in that city. He's like, that team's so much fun. He's like, I couldn't be any more happy for you. So he's you guys probably saw him. He's a lot of energy, and he get right back to me. So he was excited as much as I was.
Speaking of the innings you were talking about you've thrown, do you kind of have an idea of what your role might be or what you think your role should be? I think a lot of people expect a lot of innings out of you coming into this season, at least to help with the rotation. Kind of what do you think your role is?
Yeah, I mean, every year I go into trying to throw 200 innings like you asked any starter. I've done it at least 195 plus 4 times out of 6, and last year was the lowest I've ever had at 169, 170, something right there. And that's disappointing to me because I don't want to do that. I don't want to go in the DL. My goal is to eat up innings and give you quality starts. And I know I take pride in that. I take pride in taking the ball 30 times a year, 30 plus times a year, and I've been really blessed to be able to do that. And it's people talk about the National League game. Sometimes you get taken out a little quicker if you're losing or you're tied. So I don't have that. I have the DH now, so I don't have to worry about that getting hit for in after the 5th or 6th inning. But you know, that's what I try to do. You know, keep quality innings, quality starts. You know what you're going to get. Stay consistent. If you have a bad day, at least you give your team a chance, especially someone like the Royals, like our team here.
You gonna miss hitting?
I miss a little bit, but luckily there's interleague, so I took pride in my bunting.
Ian, what about your catcher, Salvi? You know, he's one of a kind, a Gold Glover, and he's the king of Gatorade baths. What have you heard about him?
You know, I've just seen him in the playoffs. I've seen him a lot on TV, and I just met him right before I came down here. He's a big guy. I didn't realize how big he was until I saw him in person. But you know, I've heard a lot about him, great things about him, how much he cares about his pitching staff, and that's all you want from a catcher. You want a catcher who cares about his pitchers, and I'm looking forward to working with him.
I hear he sets a great target. I mean, from what you've seen, is that somebody you think it's going to be easy to throw to?
Yeah, I mean, he's a big target to throw to, and you try to ignore the outside, but you try to see just the glove. But like I said, he sets a good low target. It gets you, because that's what I try to focus on and help you throw strikes.